The Confessional Secret. The storm began before dusk, a heavy, brooding rain that beat upon the chapel roof like restless fingers. Inside, candles flickered against the wind's low moan, their flames bowing in nervous rhythm. Father Matthias sat alone in the confessional, his rosary coiled between trembling fingers, the scent of frankincense still clinging to his cassock. It had been 3 weeks since the first message appeared, a whisper through the grate, cold and deliberate. New confession, new plea, new penance, only words like wounds. I have done what must be done. The blood of the innocent cries from beneath the floor. Each week, the same unseen penitent came at twilight, when the sky burned red like a dying heart. And each time Matthias's spirit grew heavier, as though the very air in the chapel thickened with unspoken sin. Tonight he waited again, though part of him dreaded the coming voice. The rain outside drummed harder, 1,000 small hands against the stained glass. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Lord, be my light." Then came the sound, a soft step, a rustle of fabric, the creak of the wooden door. "Father," the voice said, low and trembling, yet threaded with something sharp, almost inhuman. "The final sin has been cleansed. Forgive me for keeping what was never mine." A faint chill swept through the booth. The candles guttered, and for a heartbeat, Matthias thought he saw movement beyond the screen. Not a face, but 2 dull glimmers, like embers in the dark. He leaned forward, pulse quickening. "My child, what have you done?" But the presence was gone. Only silence answered. When he stepped out into the nave, the air was cold and heavy with incense. Upon the shelf lay another note. No seal, no name, just a verse in ink that shimmered faintly as though wet with tears. "Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord." The wind howled through the rafters, and Matthias felt his soul tighten with dread. The storm outside grew wilder, flashes of lightning painting the crucifix in cruel white light. And for a moment, just a moment, he thought he saw a shadow behind the altar, tall and patient, its outline bending the candlelight around it like glass. He closed his eyes and whispered the ancient prayer of protection. "Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory." But the words felt thin, fragile. In the days that followed, the village stirred with unease. A man accused of deceit was found dead. A merchant who cheated the poor vanished. Each tragedy carried the same echo of justice, swift, secret, merciless. And each time, the same line from the note haunted Matthias's prayers. The guilt began to weigh upon him like iron. He would stand before the tabernacle, hands trembling, feeling the strange pulse of darkness pressing close. Sometimes, when he prayed, the shadows around the altar seemed to move, not with a wind, but with intention. One night, unable to bear it, he returned to the confessional. The booth was cold, the air thick. His breath rose in small white clouds. On the bench, a folded parchment waited. He opened it with shaking hands. "Father, what if justice is God's forgiveness delayed?" The words seemed to hum, the ink faintly glowing. Then, from the far corner, he heard the sound of breath, a slow exhale, not human. His rosary snapped in his grasp as the flame nearest the crucifix shuddered blue. "Pro yourself," he whispered. The light flared, revealing for an instant the faint form of something crouched by the door, half shadow, half smoke, its eyes like coals smothered in ash. Its voice, when it came, was barely sound at all. "You forgive what he forgets." Then it was gone. Matthias fell to his knees. Tears mixed with rain that had found its way through the cracked window. He felt both terrified and strangely awakened, as if the veil between heaven and hell had thinned, and the balance between mercy and judgment had been tested through him. When dawn finally came, the rain had ceased. The world outside glowed faintly gold, wet and trembling with renewal. He sealed the confessional and placed a small cross of olive wood upon it. Then, with voice steady once more, he prayed, "O Lord, let no secret spoken in your house become a weapon in the hands of darkness. Let light judge where I cannot. Let mercy triumph where vengeance tempts. Guard my steps, that I may not call wrath what you call grace." The church stood silent again, washed in pale morning light. But somewhere deep in its wooden heart, behind the sealed door, the faint smell of ash lingered, a memory of what had once tried to speak through the dark. And whenever the candles trembled during Mass, Father Matthias would look up, his eyes calm, his voice gentle, for he had learned that even shadows flee when light refuses to be silent.